Welcome to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder and partner of Meldon Law with my son, Kerry Meldon, and we want to welcome everybody to the show today. We have two phenomenal guests, and I'm really excited to introduce them to you. Before we get going, I'm going to do a little bit of promotion for what we have going on at Meldon Law. This coming Sunday is Father's Day, and we want to encourage everybody to go to the Meldon Law Facebook page because you can win a $250 gift card to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and Steve Spurrier is going to personally sign one of his famous visors to Dad. So what a great way to celebrate Father's Day. I know it's exciting. The contest is on. All you have to do is go to Meldon Law Facebook page, and you will see the contest and enter. And maybe you and Pops and the kids will have a wonderful Sunday dinner here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. You can see all of Steve Spurrier's helmets behind me. And for those of you that haven't been here, it's a museum and a fabulous restaurant, and you'll really have a great time. It's really fun and exciting. We are also doing our 4th of July giveaway. We have this big charbroil grill, and we're filling it full of swag. It's going to be a lot of fun. I saw it at the office earlier today, and it's big. So if you want a big charbroil grill and a bunch of swag and things to enjoy while you're cooking out, same way, go to Meldon Law Facebook page and enter the contest. It's all free. There's no tricks or conditions or anything. Anybody can enter it. We're just trying to bring awareness to the community. So check us out. We are broadcasting now. We're available on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter Live. You can watch us on any of those platforms, as well as 37 other radio, I call them radio, audio platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, a whole bunch. And I think we may have added a couple because now my notes say we're up to 39 different platforms. So remember, share the podcast with friends and relatives. This is really powerful information, and we want to encourage everybody to listen to our podcasts and help out the very important organizations that we bring to the forefront. I'm here today with Audra Peoples, who represents the Alzheimer's Association. Meldon Law, myself and my wife Patricia are very involved with. We're chairing the event coming up in October, which is the Walk for Alzheimer's. And I want to welcome Audra to the show. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Well, good. Well, we got a lot to talk about. I know that you have been involved in, let's see, what is your title right now with Alzheimer's?
So I'm the development manager for the Gainesville Walk to End Alzheimer's. Last year, we had a tremendous event with overwhelming support. We raised over $118,000 in Gainesville alone. So really incredible outpouring from the community. And I'm just pleased to be here on behalf of the Alzheimer's Association.
Well, how did you wind up getting this job, Audra?
Well, I've worked all my life in nonprofits. I have a degree in communications from Florida State University, proud to say, and I've worked for statewide and local nonprofits. I really find a lot of satisfaction from helping people, and this is just another way I can give back to the community and raise awareness for this worthy cause.
How long have you been involved with the Alzheimer's group?
So I started last summer. Which was, I was fortunate enough to do my first walk here in Gainesville, and I'm pleased to be back again in Gainesville. I think it's a wonderful community, really warm people. And it reminds me a lot about where I live in Tallahassee. We've got beautiful trees, a university, warm setting, and just really good people.
Well, I know that Alzheimer's and dementia are very important on the minds of a lot of people. I think you and I had talked earlier, and you said that 1 in 3 people, 1 in 3 families are affected by either Alzheimer's or dementia. Can you talk a little bit about what's the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia?
So Alzheimer's is a progressive disease, much like dementia. It interacts in the brain in a bit of a different way, and there's a lot of information about the differences in the diseases and the similarities on our website at alz.org. And even within dementia and Alzheimer's, there's even different types of how the ways that it impacts the brain. There's Lewy body dementia. There's dementia that's informed by trauma to the brain. There's all sorts of different things. And so really understanding what kind of dementia or Alzheimer's a person has is important to achieving the best care and outcomes for them.
How do you go about diagnosing Alzheimer's and or dementia?
So there is a litany of tests that your doctor can provide. Most of the time it will include a brain scan, but there's also some cognitive things that help us at least lead us to a diagnosis. And that scan will then further enhance our ability to diagnose Alzheimer's and dementia.
So is there like a testing protocol?
Yes.
And you can take it either a written test, or if people aren't able to do the written test, you can do it in some kind of a oral fashion.
And there's phases to the disease. So depending on how the disease has progressed is how one might perform at each cognitive state.
And how do you help people when they're in a crisis? I mean, I know that in my home, where my wife's mother, my mother-in-law, lives with us, and she's almost 90 years old, and she, for most of the time she's okay, but she phases in and out, and we can't leave her alone. Is the issue. Is that something that you run into commonly as far as people that are reaching out for help?
Yes, so people do reach out for help, family members, caregivers, loved ones, and they want to understand how to care for their loved one at all phases of the disease. I'm certainly not a medical professional, but a person will act in different ways as the disease progresses. And so what you're seeing is the progression of the disease. And I'm glad that you guys are there to provide care, as well as your caregiver support group.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a village really to support it. I have no idea of how people who don't have the financial resources cope with all of that. What are some of the things that you do to assist people regardless of what their financial ability is?
Sure. That's an important question. And the Alzheimer's Association has a 24-hour helpline. So that's for anybody who has any questions on Alzheimer's and dementia, whether that's a family member or someone living with the disease, a loved one. A lot of times we have folks that are reaching out in the middle of the night. So that 24-hour helpline is really critical when people are maybe in a crisis situation or don't know how to deal with a situation that may be escalating with someone who is living with Alzheimer's or dementia. And it's staffed by master's level clinicians, and they speak over 200 languages.
Wow.
So we're really there to support folks. We also provide care and support through local programming, and we have a program manager, my counterpart, Audra Coachman, who can meet with families and help them plan if they know someone or caring for someone living with Alzheimer's and dementia.
So there's Audrey and Audra.
That's right.
Okay. So how did you get the name Audra?
Funny you should ask. my mom really liked this show called, I think it was Big Valley, and Linda Evans was on the show, and her character's name was Audra, and she named me after her.
Well, that's a great story. I love it. Okay, I remember that
See?
program. It was good, wonderful, and Linda Evans is beautiful.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'll take it.
Hey, one of the most beautiful. I was named after one of the most beautiful actresses on TV. Okay. So, getting back to the resources. So, there's a lot of freaking out that's going on all hours of the day and night, right?
There can be, yeah.
Yeah, there can be. I mean, it's certainly not in every situation. So, what's available if something as crazy is happening, and they call the hotline? How do you help them decide what to do next?
Yeah, so these clinicians are trained in a whole variety of disciplines, whether that's de-escalation. They can also, if a loved one is missing, they can inform and walk the caller through that process. So maybe it's reaching out to local law enforcement. So really understanding what the person's going through that's calling, and being able to assist them at whatever level they are at, and a lot of times it is simply a question about my loved one has just been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia. I've just been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia. What do I do next? And they can provide those next steps.
What are some of the community resources that where you can get financial assistance to help treat or take care of somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia?
So again, I would point people back to alz.org. We have a community resource finder that helps connect people with resources in their area, whether that's respite care, whether that's in-home care, maybe it's assisted living, maybe it's memory care, whatever that person needs. This community resource finder that is on alz.org and can really assist families and loved ones find that the care and the support that they need.
So, does health insurance, Medicare, community resources, do those help provide financial assistance for people that need help?
Again, I'm not a medical professional, so I wouldn't really be able to answer that. But I do know that many people with Alzheimer's and dementia use their regular insurance, use Medicaid, use Medicare to help provide for their care, whether that's through doctor's office visits, meeting with clinicians, testing and scans and things of that nature. But again, I would point people back to the website to find out exactly what resources are available to them.
Yeah, I know, because it's a major financial commitment in order to, put the team together to help. And if somebody is working full time and they have kids and they have a loved one in the house and, they're living paycheck to paycheck, I imagine it becomes extremely stressful on the family, and it can cause kind of a disintegration of the family unit because things are out of control.
No doubt. The disease is really challenging for people, and this is why the Alzheimer's Association exists. We really want to end Alzheimer's and all other dementia. We want this to be, the last generation that experiences that.
Well, we all pray for that, and we're going to do our part to reach that goal. And we're going to take a 60-second break on Meldon Law and Friends, and we'll be back with you in just a minute.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down. When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder of Meldon Law, and I am very excited that we have Audra Peoples here from the Alzheimer's Association today. A reminder again, we have these exciting giveaways. Father's Day is coming up Sunday. Please give Dad a great present. All you have to do is go to Meldon Law Facebook page and enter the contest. It's free for a $250 gift certificate to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where we are today. And we always encourage our friends and family to come out here and support this terrific experience out here at Spurrier's. It's a museum. It's a great restaurant, and there's a lot of fun going on all the time. It's at Celebration Point right in the heart of Gainesville, so come on out. And if your Pops wins the giveaway for the $250 gift certificate to Spurrier's, we're going to also have Steve Spurrier individually sign a visor to Dad, recognizing his contribution to the family. July 4th is coming up, and we have a great, beautiful, big charbroil grill that we're giving away, filled with lots of swag and exciting gifts inside of it. So just go to Meldon Law Facebook page, enter it. It's all free. We want to have everybody in the community share and have a good time. So that's what's going on. Again, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter Live, and 39 audio platforms. So let your friends and our friends know that we're here. I'm here with Audra Peoples, who is a longtime native of North Florida. She has been with the Alzheimer's group for over a year now. It has a long background as far as nonprofits. So Audra, one of the things that we want to do is to bring awareness to the Alzheimer's Association and what you do. Let's talk about the walk that we have coming up in October. That's exciting. This is the fun stuff where you can support a very important organization and have a wonderful time.
Absolutely. We're so excited. We're going to be back in Gainesville on October 22nd at Trinity United Methodist Church. It is so easy to get involved, and it's absolutely free. You can register as a participant or start a team and bring on your friends and family members and colleagues by visiting our website at alz.org/Gainesville. You can also just Google Walk to End Alzheimer's Gainesville and you'll find us. And it's easy to register, and we'd love to see everybody out there on October 22nd. Last year it was a tremendous event, raised over $118,000, as I mentioned. And this year we hope to raise $128,000. And so we really need the community to come out. We really want you guys to help support us, and also understand that, you know, when you sign up, again, it costs $0, but it's about finding your friends and family and your coworkers and people that may have been touched by the disease that want to support you. It's reaching out to your networks and encouraging them to support your walk to end Alzheimer's.
So is it like a big party out there when you show up?
It is. It is. We have a lot of fun. We have a DJ. There's lots of our sponsors and supporters that have tables with giveaways. We'll have face painting for the kids, and lots of food and water and drinks for everybody to enjoy. And we have a beautiful opening ceremony in which we honor why everybody's walking. And for our purposes, it's for 4 different reasons. So it's either you're living with the disease, you are caring for someone with the disease, you have lost someone to the disease, or you're a supporter of the cause. And we have different flowers that we plant in our promise garden to signify the different reasons why people are walking. So you'll see people walking around with different color flowers, and you'll say, oh, clearly that's a person who's a caregiver. I'm a caregiver too. So there's a lot of community that's involved in Walk Day, and a lot of people find new friends and new ways to engage with people in this community that are also in many ways experiencing the same things they are.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a fun event. It's a party. It's not something that is going to be boring.
No, it's never boring. It's never boring.
So, and what's the date?
October 22nd at Trinity United Methodist Church.
That's a Saturday.
That's a Saturday.
Saturday, and it's in the morning.
It is. It'll start. Registration will start at 9 a.m. I should say.
Yeah. Well, I know that weekend because. First of all, it's the weekend before the Florida-Georgia game.
Yes.
So,
yes.
so you're not going to have a conflict with football, and it's in the morning, and that weekend is also the Tom Petty Festival weekend, but it doesn't start till after the walk.
Perfect.
So
no excuse.
So we have no excuse to not show up, and it's for a good cause. As Audra said, the most important thing is for us to get people to show up. The event is focused in on creating awareness that there are resources in the community, regardless of whatever your financial situation is, to help. Mm-hmm. And whether or not you're facing a dilemma right now as far as what to do, or it's just cause that you want to help because you're aware of it. It doesn't matter. And whether it's striking home right now or later, most people during their lifetime will be affected in some way, whether it's the individual themselves, a family member, somebody who's you're very close to. And having the information and resources as far as what to do, I think takes away some of the fear that's involved in dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia.
Absolutely. We definitely want to reduce stigma. And, so much of the work that we do, how these funds are utilized that we raise on the Walk to End Alzheimer's, go back to that care and support those community resources. But they also fund research, groundbreaking research. We are the largest nonprofit funder of research in the world. So we have really dedicated our time and energy and your hard-earned dollars to help find a cure for Alzheimer's and dementia and for better treatments and to understand how Alzheimer's and dementia impacts the brain and even how it impacts different ethnicities. African American and Latino populations have much higher rates of Alzheimer's and dementia. So we provide funding on studies to understand why this occurs and what's going on in these communities, what's going on in individuals that is finding a much higher prevalence in those communities.
And what are some of the, I'll call them cures or improvements that are on the horizon that you've heard about? So
there are treatments that are available. Currently, Aduhelm is a treatment that has been shown, at least in clinical trials, to slow some of the progression of the disease. But I encourage everybody to speak with their doctors because, as I mentioned earlier, there's all kinds of different dementia and Alzheimer's, and it really does. These treatments are really targeted for the different types of Alzheimer's and dementia. So I encourage you to speak to your doctor about what those treatments are. We also have. There's a lot of clinical trials that are available, and maybe that might be right for individuals that are living with Alzheimer's and dementia. So again, speaking to your doctor and going to our website to figure out what advances are being made is a great way to find the right care.
Yeah, I mean, I think I view myself as maybe moving out of middle age into older age. I'm not old. I'll never be old. I just get older. However, there are changes even in healthy people as you age, and I'm looking forward to continuing to learn more about the treatment of Alzheimer's, because I think once you get that information, you're constantly able to go, oh, these are some things that I need to at least be aware of. Whether, dementia, I think, as I understand it, is in many ways a common condition that is prevalent as people age. Is that correct?
It is, but it's not, Alzheimer's and dementia are not a normal part of aging. It's a progressive brain disease that causes problems with memory, thinking, and behavior. And so as we age, we all experience cognitive declines, but that's very different than Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yeah, what are how would you explain some of the differences?
So if someone forgets their keys, but remembers it 5 minutes later, that's something that for some people that living with Alzheimer's and dementia, they won't be able to remember 5 minutes later. So having that ability to recall is important. But again, I'm not a medical practitioner, and so I encourage anybody that's experiencing cognitive delays, memory loss, anything like that, to speak to their doctor for a full assessment.
And then there's different strategies that you can employ if people are healthy enough that where they can actually put together strategy. I mean, like my keys, I have a little dish, and I always put my keys in my dish, and that way I don't have to, run around. The same thing with cell phones. And so even healthy people, whether you're young or old, you still have little, I'll call them tricks. There's strategies. There's strategies that we all employ. So are some of these same kind of strategies things that you can use with folks that have Alzheimer's or dementia?
Yeah, and so much of it depends on the phase that people are in. There are several phases for Alzheimer's. And so, at phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, we'll see additional cognitive decline. And so understanding where people are in the process is really important for meeting their needs at that time.
Well, it's fascinating that there's so many resources out there. A lot of us, we're very well aware of Alzheimer's. We know what dementia is. We have people, our loved ones that are suffering with the disease, and we want to help. Having the resources to help is absolutely critical. And I want to thank you so much for, sharing the fact that there is hope.
Yes.
And I think that's probably the most important thing is there's a community out there. The Alzheimer's Association is available 24/7, and that's
right.
pretty remarkable. So let's go over again how people can get in touch with you and how they can help further the cause.
Sure. So just to let everybody know, that 1-800 number is 1-800-272-3900. That number is also found on our website at alz.org. But people can get involved locally in Gainesville by joining us on October 22nd. So register at alz.org/Gainesville and come out and join our community, and let's wrap our arms around it.
And there's lots of things you can do. Just check it out. If you just show up, if you bring some friends, if you want to donate some money, it's all available. There's no charge, and it's going to be a fabulous walk and a good time, and it's going to be like a carnival atmosphere. So let's join us October 22nd for the Alzheimer's Walk. I'm Jeffrey Meldon. We're going to take a 3-minute break from Meldon Law and Friends, and we'll be back and see you in 3 minutes.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
We are here at the University of Florida, where Albert and Alberta are competing in the Gator penalty shootout. Albert is ready to stop the shot at all costs. What a disaster! Luckily, Meldon Law is the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. If you have suffered any injury, do not worry, because Meldon Law is going to help you with your recovery. Meldon Law doesn't back down until they reach their goal.
And I was in an accident. Someone ran a red light and hit me, and I was hurt. You don't know where to turn. Luckily, I called Jeffrey. These big insurance companies, they don't want you to win. They truly don't. But Jeffrey and his firm and the people that work here, they just really fight for you. You call the law offices of Jeffrey Meldon, because you're gonna need help, and they will help you.
We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you. When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your
No,
fault.
it's not,
I am
it's not.
calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder of Meldon Law, and we serve all of the folks in the state of Florida. If you have any accident with injuries, give us a call. We'll help get you in the right direction. Sometimes we can help you solve the situation without a lawyer, and we're glad to do that. We have some great giveaways. As we mentioned before, we're giving away a $250 gift certificate to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where we're broadcasting from for Father's Day, along with a individually signed visor from Steve Spurrier himself to Dad. So that's pretty cool. And for July 4th, we're giving away a beautiful big grill for the backyard or wherever you want to use it, along with a bunch of swag. And all you have to do to enter either one of those contests is go to the Meldon Law Facebook page. It's free. There's no strings attached. And enter the contest and see if you can win. We have a terrific second guest for the show today, our good friend, Lizzie Jenkins. Welcome to the show, Lizzie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, and thank you for having me.
Well, good. Well, I know this is a big month. I know it's Juneteenth,
Yes.
and you're very involved in that. Before we go too much farther, I'd like you to talk a little bit about your history in Alachua County and in north central Florida, and how you wound up sitting in the seat that you're in today.
I'm sitting in the seat I'm in today because you are my good friend. And you are community oriented. So everybody knows Jeffrey Meldon, okay? And as I said before, thank you for inviting me. And many people don't know me. For you out there that don't know me, my name is Lizzie Robinson Jenkins. I'm a Robinson from Archer. I love Archer. I love Alachua County. I have been there all of my life. However, I am connected to Rosewood. My connect.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to the folks a little bit about Rosewood.
Okay.
Why don't you tell folks what Rosewood is and your connection?
Okay, Rosewood is a tragedy, a massacre that happened in 1923 in Rosewood, Florida, Rosewood, Levy County, Florida. However, many of the survivors were from Alachua County, including my aunt, who was a school teacher there from 1915 to 1923. Her home is Archer. She taught school in Rosewood because she met and married a young man by the name of Aaron Carrier. And she was there for 7 years. She survived. Her name is Mahulda Gussie Brown Carrier. She survived the massacre. It was really it traumatized her, and she was never able, and you know the story really is not easy to tell, to overcome her experience, because during the time when the KKK came in on January 1, 1923, of course they came in because Fannie Taylor was a white woman who said or claimed she was assaulted. She didn't say rape. She was assaulted by a black man.
And she had been beaten up. I saw the movie
Yes.
Rosewood, which
Yes.
was late 90s, I think.
Yes, 97 it was.
And who were the stars in that movie?
John
Singleton.
Don Cheadle, John Voight, and somebody else. I don't remember.
It was a big Hollywood production.
It was by John Singleton,
John Singleton was what, the producer,
the
right?
producer, right?
And it tells the story of Rosewood in January 1st, 1923, which is, we're coming up on the 100th
Yes.
anniversary. A white woman had been beaten up, we think probably by a man who she was having a white man who she was having a relationship with, and then it got into violence. And when they confronted her, rather than telling the truth, she turned and blamed it on an innocent black man who was living in the Rosewood community.
Exactly, and that was habit back then. Well, they still do it today, you know. There are women today that will say, hey, a black man attacked me, because it's just, to us, it's historical, okay? It's history. It has been done over and over many times. And Rosewood is not the only town that has been demolished. And when I was growing up, I would talk to my mom about the different situations. She said, baby, there are many Rosewood with different names, because it has happened so many times. But my main purpose, and let me back up. Mom said, keep the history alive. And the purpose that she wanted me to keep alive, she wanted me to tell the truth, do the right research, and make sure it doesn't happen again, but never forget it. So what I have done, people like you have gravitated toward me, knowing that I have been doing this for like 30 years, and you're stepping in at the right time to help. That is exactly what we need, because it's not our history, it's America's history. I mean, you didn't create the Rosewood history. I didn't create it, but it's history. And the only way that we're going to be able to bring closure, hopefully reconciliation, is to admit what we did and work to close the racial divide. And it takes all of us. And I appreciate people like you. You have done an outstanding job being there, helping with any way you can. You have done that, and it's very much appreciated.
Well, I will suggest to all of our listeners and viewers, if you haven't seen the Rosewood movie, it tells the story much better than we're able to explain it today. But an entire town was not only burned to the ground, but the residents were killed, and some of them were able to escape. Rosewood was in Levy County, but not far from Alachua County, where Gainesville is, and that it was, as shown in the movie, which was a dramatization, but it was based on facts that
Yes.
they had accumulated, was an example of what was occurring in America back then. Certainly, there's still racism in the country today, but the idea that a group of white men would come and kill everybody, including innocent people, women, men, women, children who were just there, and actually it was a very successful, vibrant community that was contributing greatly to the economy out there.
They were working together, and it was a growing community. It was a growing community, and they were working together. You know what? In fact, they worked hand in hand with the white residents. If the KKK had stayed out of Rosewood, the sheriff was able to control the people in Levy County because he made it his business to find out, to learn who they were. He knew everybody. That's why he worked so hard, as my mom said, 96 hours straight, in an effort to get them, as many as possible, out of Rosewood alive. And he did an excellent job.
Yeah, the movie dramatizes how there was a great number of residents of Rosewood who were allowed or enabled to escape through the railroad train, I
Yes.
think, was there. And unfortunately, at the time that this occurred, the KKK were having some kind of a group meeting in Gainesville. And Gainesville was close enough to Rosewood, so when they heard about this, they decided to do some horrible things and went out there and threw kerosene on the fire, so to speak,
Yes.
by taking the local residents and starting a murderous campaign.
Exactly. And thankful to the Bryce brothers from Brightsville. There was a train hub down there, and they own a train there. And the sheriff had asked several different train conductors. All of them said no, 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 because they didn't want to get involved to jeopardize their family. So eventually the Brights brothers said, okay, we'll help, but it has to be late at night. And the purpose for that, all of the, I don't want to call them devils, but the people that would have retaliated, they wanted to make sure they had gone to bed. So that's why the train, they said late.
Late in the middle of the night, so
Exactly.
that the residents could. In the movie, they have a lot of kids and a lot
Yes.
of women and and some men who were able to go through the woods to where the railroad tracks were and figure out some way to get on the train. Did the train take them back towards Gainesville?
Yes, it took them to Archer was the first drop off. That's where my aunt got off, and then to Gainesville, Waldo, Stark, Larty, Maxville, through Maxville, and on up to Brightsville. That's where it stopped. And when it got to Brightsville, there were some people still on the train. However, they were not from Brightsville, because the people that had migrated to Levy County, Rosewood, Cedar Key, were from southern states. And when I say people, the black people, they were immigrants that had moved to work in Levy County. So they didn't know where to get off when the train was stopping at these different places. So when it got to Briceville, the Bryce brothers were surprised to see that there were people still on the train. They didn't have any place to get off. However, when they did exit the train, disembark there in Briceville, their father, K. Bryce, gave them jobs because he owned a sawmill there and a turpentine still. And he gave them a job and put them up in little shanties, you know, so that they would have some place to live.
Now, where is Briceville? I know Maxville is towards Jacksonville, right?
Yes, Brightsville is in Nassau County near Yulee.
Okay.
Okay,
So it's kind of north and east of
Exactly.
of where Gainesville and Levy County was. So it was up towards the Jacksonville area. Nassau County's a little bit north of Jacksonville.
Exactly. So that's how they got there. But
Now you've been involved with as a historian for a long time. Are you accumulating data and records and books that accurately portray what's been going on?
absolutely, 30 years. And you know, my mom was a historian. I never recorded her, and I am so sorry I didn't take the time to record her. But I remember everything she told me. And Saturday, I did my record. I have done a record out. It will be released before the centennial. And the name of it is Rosewood, Florida. It tells the story of Rosewood, of what happened, the history. And the young man who recorded the song, and I talked to him like I'm talking to you to let him know what I knew. He said, when you come back from Atlanta, I want you to come in, and I'm going to record all of your stories. Couldn't believe it.
Wow.
So he's going to do my recordings for me so that we will have this history and not lose it.
Well, we're going to get back in 1 minute and continue our conversation with Lizzie Robinson Jenkins, who is heading up the Real Rosewood Foundation, and we're going to talk about what's coming up in the future. We'll be back in 60 seconds on Meldon Law and Friends.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down. When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder of Meldon Law, and I'm very excited to have Lizzie Robinson Jenkins, the founder of the Real Rosewood Foundation, with us today to talk about the history of Rosewood and what's going on. I was very glad to hear that you're going to do an oral history to lay it down based on what you remember. You know, when I was a young lawyer in Gainesville, there was a famous professor at the University of Florida named Samuel Proctor.
Okay.
And he started the oral history program at the University of Florida, which today is still very active and vibrant. And his theory is in the past we would hear most of the history through the interpretation of the author of books. If we could somehow do an oral history, whether it was an audio recording or visual recording, we would really get so much more about what happened rather than have somebody interpret what somebody had told them.
Exactly, exactly. And I have not been involved in the program. However, I'm well aware of it, and by choice, I chose not to at this time. However, after I finish my book and after the centennial, I have already made it known to him that I will participate and make sure my information, Rosewood information, is there.
Great.
Yes.
At the
At
university?
the University of Florida, I'm not ready.
Okay.
So he is aware that I'm on board to share that information because it's not about me. It's not my history. It's the history of a people.
And I think that it's very important because what was special about Rosewood was that it was a vibrant community and that there were people that were contributing, and that it was probably one of the best examples of an African American community doing really good things and being able to live successful lives.
Yes, hardworking people. And a couple of weeks ago, there are many Rosewood descendants people don't know about that's still living all over Florida, well, in the United States. And I got this call from a young man, and I knew who he was, and he knew me. And he called me, and he said, "Mrs. Jenkins, this is Gregory." I don't mind calling his name Gregory Doctor. And he said, "I am so interested in what you're doing. I have been following you, watching you, and I appreciate it." He said, "I want to hook up with you. I want to be a part of your Rosewood project, and I want you to be a part of my Rosewood project. So what we're going to do, as we speak, we're working on merging anybody out there who says, who has a connection to Rosewood. We're going to come together and we're going to tell our story collectively. So we're going to start collaborating soon." And I thought that was an excellent idea. This is something I have been praying for them to come aboard. They know what I have done, so they want to be a part of what I have done and all of the work that I have done. And I want them to be. As I said, it's not about me. It's about the new generation. It's about families.
Well, I think it is very important because the purpose of what Lizzie has been working on for 30 years is that we educate ourselves, we don't forget about the past, and we learn from the past, and then we can take positive actions to make sure that it doesn't reoccur and happen. Let's talk a little bit about January 1st, 2023, and what's going to be, what kind of a commemorative event's going to take place.
We have several events. Like I said, we're going to connect with Georgia and Florida. There's someone from North Carolina, Rosewood descendants. The Gainesville Matheson Center.
That's the historical museum for Gainesville.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they want to work with us. And there are the young man I was telling you about that recorded my song. They know many are song groups, and they are going to invite all of the groups in, and we're going to do Bodittley at the Bodittley Plaza. We're going to do an event, and we're going to invite the community. The city, what is it called? The Gainesville, can't remember, but anyway, Katie.
The Cade Museum.
No, the young lady name is Katie.
Katie.
I don't remember
city.
the city. What? Yeah, she worked for the city of Gainesville. She is involved, and there are so many people that's reaching out that want to be involved. And yes, I am involved with the Cade Museum. Okay, so I believe they will help. And Dr. Brody from Santa Fe Community College is willing to work with us. Almost everybody. If they aren't reaching out to me, they're reaching out to some of our board members. And this is an opportune time for us to just work together. Oh, and my principal down in Archer, she has reached out to me, Hartwell, okay? And she wants to help with the Rosewood event coming up, and she wants the kids involved. Archer Historical Society is involved. My church, St. Joseph Missionary Baptist Church, is involved. And the AME churches are involved. In fact, I'm speaking for them next week. They have in their district, a district what? Convention or association, a meeting anyway, here in Gainesville, and I will be speaking for them. So there are many people out there. And if anyone is within my listening voice, you can always go to my website, rosewoodflorida.com, send us a message, or my email, lizziepraj@aol.com. We welcome you. As we say, it's not about me, it's about history, keeping it alive, so that we know that hopefully it will not repeat. And I know by us coming together, working together, we can make that happen.
Are there certain events that are going to occur on or before or after January 1st?
Of course. And what we're working on as we speak, listing these events that's going to take place and putting them on our website, www.rosewoodflorida.com. And you can also make a donation there if you want to help us move the John Wright House from Rosewood to Archer.
Yeah, so that's the one house that remains from the Rosewood community that's out there. And the idea is to preserve history by having a home, and that's where we can have a museum
Exactly.
dedicated to learning the history of Rosewood.
Exactly. And what is so interesting, the property, the 29 acres that we're going to put the museum on, is the property of the school teachers' parents. They purchased in 1904, and we're going to bring that house to Archer, and we're going to shelter that house that saved the Rosewood survivors. So that house sheltered them in 1923. In 2023, we're going to bring that house to Archer and shelter it. We're going to protect it. So it's like history repeating itself positively.
Well, are you bringing younger people on that can carry on the message?
Exactly. Yes, we are. Yes,
Well, that's
we are.
exciting. I mean, being able to track down some of the descendants, I think, will create the connection that people look for in order to have some reason to get involved.
Right. And I met a young man recently out of Atlanta, and he is the director of the Juneteenth Festival, and they have invited me up to ride on the float, and they're giving me time on the stage to tell my story.
Wow. And that's going to be a huge event. I know it's coming
Yes.
up in a
This
week or
weekend.
so.
On the 18th, and they are expecting 40,000.
Wow.
And just think if 40,000 people hear, or 20,000, hear about Rosewood, the rest is history.
So once again, tell our listeners and viewers if they want to get involved, they want to contribute, where to go.
Okay, if you want to get involved and contribute to Rosewood, you may go to www.rosewoodflorida.com, click on the donate button, and you will be in business.
And if you just want to learn about it, you can go to the same website
Yes.
and get information. We always try to encourage our people to learn, find out more about important causes, and certainly the Real Rosewood Foundation, it's rosewoodflorida.com,
Yes.
right, is a place to get information. And it's really inspiring to have you on with us today as our guest. Thank you very much for joining us. We're coming to the conclusion of the show, and I want to thank everybody for watching and listening to Meldon Law and Friends. Thank you, Lizzie. We appreciate your
And thank
company.
you. I appreciate you.